Hi everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Velvet Lounge Life. This is a different type of video for you for sure. I hope you enjoy it. And in this video, we are going to talk about some of the ephemera that I found and I paid absolutely nothing for when I visited a recent flea market. And also a few bits and bobs that I recovered from a very good and 100%, I'll say it's probably like 98% overlooked. And the reason I say that is I'm pretty sure a lot of people do not think about this as a resource when they're searching for true, real, authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera. So, first of all, let's talk about the flea market. So, flea markets can be definitely a hit or a miss as far as finding things that are, I'm going to say, very specific. Like if you're looking for a very specific thing, it's probably going to be hard to find at a flea market. However, if you are willing to open your mind and look beyond what you see, there are definitely some things that you can find there, such as labels. Yes, it might require you to purchase the jar so that you can correctly remove the label, or to purchase a tin can so that you can remove the label, etc. But as you can see, yes, that's what I mean about looking beyond what you see right in front of you. Also, if you're like me, you do more than put paper items in your junk journal. You put bits and bobs of jewelry, little tiny tools and implements, little teeny tiny figurines and other things, game pieces, the list, buttons, buttons, feathers, the list goes on and on and on. For me, what I look for in those items is hoping that I have a flat surface I could work with, or if it's not flat, if I can sand it down using a rough, and then after that using a smooth sandpaper. So that's one of my tricks, you guys, to get things to lie flat, because I have a lot of people who ask me that question. I also use shells and sticks and natural things as well, rocks even. And the other thing that I do is I make sure that I wash or rinse or wipe off all of these items just to make sure that I get a good adhesion with the glue. So if there's like any type of coating, for example, especially if you're looking at things that are old, they could have like an old coating on it, even nicotine, yuck, I know. And you just want to get that off before you do your gluing down. So when I go to the flea market, like I said, I'm looking well beyond the normal. Most people are like, wow, look, there's a bunch of magazines. I look at those too, but everybody's looking at those. One of the other things I look at are books, but I don't just look at the books for the covers. I look at the books, meaning for the book board covers. So these are your book board covers that we would use to, create a junk journal out of. I look for more than that. What I do is I also want to, let me see if I'm smaller. There you go. I also am looking for pictures. So for example, this book has its original dust cover. I'm always looking at those dust covers. I look at the dust covers first, because I can always recover the book boards. So look at this one. That is saying a lot in that photograph. But I do look at these because these would make like really good pieces, bits and bobs for a junk journal, and maybe even for the cover. Depends on what you're going for, obviously. These are, I want to say these books are dated in the 1930s, and maybe some are even in the 40s. Let me just see what date is in this one. Yeah, this one, you can see the person inscribed it 1948. Let's see. 1948. So you can find some really good old books, but don't just look at them for the book covers. The other thing that we do, and we call them goodies when we find them, is that we look inside of the books to see if there's an old bookmark. Maybe there's one of those old prayer cards inside. See, this one is from 1947. Maybe there's a photograph. Maybe there's, we've actually found money inside of books, old money too. So the money wasn't just, you know, here's a, because we actually found, I believe, $5 bill. We found multiple different $1 bills that had the colored seals on it and the colors of blue, red, and I think we even found a yellow one, which I think is kind of rare. And we found a $5 bill once, and that was like a lime green type of seal. So those are worth more than their face amount. So, and they were nice and flat because they were in these books, not these books, but they were in various books that we found over the years. I have a feeling that all of those books came from the same family also. So just, you know, so that's like the hidden 99%, 98% of folks probably really don't think about is looking in these books page by page. What they'll do is they will flip through a book like this and they'll see that it's mostly words, if not all words, and they're like, there's nothing in there. But there could be something stuck in between those pages. We have found hundreds of items, so we know what we're talking about. And also, like I said, those covers make amazing bits of ephemera themselves. Just the dust covers, those are actually categorized as ephemera. So some of the other things that I got this weekend that I didn't even have to pay for. It's kind of sad, but there's a guy who has a business and he brings things from his business to the flea market, and he's there probably like once every 2 or 3 weeks. And then as the summer is getting over, like I would say the end of August up until the end of September, he'll come almost weekly because that's his final push to try to get rid of as much stuff as possible. And what he'll do is at the end of the market sale, probably about an hour before it ends, he starts fill a bag. So he's like, fill a bag. He doesn't care what size the bag is. And you only pay $5 for whatever you put in that bag. And then almost maybe half an hour or so before the flea market is closing down, he will do a everything is free. That is my number one resource for going to get labels, because even if it's an empty, let's just say Christmas tree ornament box, because I've done that before, I will pick that box up just because it says Holt Howard on it or whatever it says, shiny bright. And even though the box is empty, even if it's ripped and torn, as long as the main portion of it is still good, I will take that empty lid and then I can take and turn that into something with mixed media art, junk journaling, etc., adding to my own ephemera collection. So one of the things that I got was an American airline tag. This actually up above the white had the person's name, address, they filled it in. I cut that part off and recycled it because, hello, I don't know if that person's still alive or not. And also I did not want like that kind, I just really wanted the Pan-American portion of this label. And it does say city, ville, ciudad. And ironically, it says a country on it, país. So that's a portion that I wanted. I could definitely use this for like a travel junk journal, something like that, advertising. The other thing I found, and I thought this was really wild, and you could see that these are from 1967 because it says 1867 to 1967. They're Canadian postage stamps, and ironically, they're still in the book. I think that, yeah, there's like there were 2 pages like this, and the second page is gone. There's still like one random stamp in there or something. I don't know what that is. The tissue is in there. And yeah, so this is, I thought, was a pretty cool find if someone was a stamp collector, but you know me, I'm an ephemera person. So I can use this inside of one of my junk journals as a pocket, as one of those slip-ins or slip-ups, or even a slip-down, because you can actually stick something in there and it's not necessarily going to come down. I could change this into a pocket. There's a lot of things that I can do with this. I could remove the staple and kind of create a notebook out of it, and maybe even keep the stamps in there just for giggles and ha-has. The other thing I found, I'll just go right to this one, is this postcard, which is kind of hilarious. I didn't even realize it was a postcard at first. You turn it over, it literally says postcard. And it has some writing down here at the bottom. It says, I suppose my auntie will have a fit and fall into it if she finds that I sent you this card. Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, this is a hilarious card, and it has this little kid who is using a, I don't know what they call them officially, but I guess I'll call it a little commode. It says 2 of a kind. When you and I were young is what the person wrote in their own hand script. But you know, there are some old postcards out there. This one is only in fair condition. So, you know, the conditions are what they are. But if you're using it for a junk journal, that's why I always say you don't have to waste time artificially aging things, because I like things that are kind of naturally aged. It is rare that I will artificially age anything, because I don't really use lots of brand new items or purchase items to create a journal. To me, the fun of creating a journal, and this is just my opinion, is the fact that I can find things, I can kind of create this collection, and everything in it is authentic and real. And I just think that's so cool, because like I look at something like this and think about, ooh, the pictures that were in here. Okay, I know what pictures were in here. They were pictures of Austria, which I actually sold in a whatnot sale from 1943, I believe it was. And then we have some more of these that have pictures in them from 1950, 1951, and I want to say maybe 1958. And there were still some more 1940s photographs as well. And so this is such a cool pocket. Like, this is a pocket, you guys. It already, look, has its opening. Look at the tabs on the back. So when they made this, those were splayed out. Then they folded them over, glued them, which is what created this pocket. So you can use this as a pocket if you wanted to, which I don't plan on doing this, but you could turn this into a belly band if you use your paper cutter and just cut this off. But the sides were already turned. Like, as far as clipping goes, you don't have to do anything. You could do more to, you know, do things to this if you wanted to, but this is an authentic piece of ephemera that's still whole and is in excellent condition. And now I have, I'm going to say at least a dozen of these. So I'm so happy about that. And once again, these cost nothing. The other thing I got, and this came out of a book, actually one of the books I showed you over there, is this. It says, to Grandpa from Lucille, and it is a, I don't know, I think it's a Valentine's Day card. Is that what it is? Looking for a partner, he must be one that keeps for blah, 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 blah. I think this is a Valentine's Day card. The cool thing is, it has this cutout feature so that you can stand it up. It's, oh, well, it's old, you guys. So yeah, she might have a little problem standing, but she stands, especially on the slippery. There you go. Well, I put it on the glass. I probably won't get it to stand. Let's see if I can or not. I have one more try and then I will move on. But I love the colors in this card. Of course, the sentiment is really sweet. There you go. I got it to stand. You can see the card still stands. And yes, please subscribe to the Velvet Lounge Life here on YouTube. But also follow us on Whatnot. I'm also on Instagram now. You can check us out there. And we've always been on Facebook. But I think that's super cute. You could do a lot of different things with this. People who collect cards will probably be like, don't do anything with it. So that's obviously your prerogative to not do anything with the things that you find. Some more things that I found, I thought these were the coolest, and a lot of these did have letters in them, and some had actual forms in them. And I haven't really read those things in detail, so I did not want to like splay them out here right now on the internet. But if after I read them to see like what they're about or whether I should shred them or not, I'm pretty sure they'll come up in a future video. But this is dated, and look, it's not that old, but you would think that this was older, 1983. But this is when we had airmail, and airmail was sent in these fancy envelopes. And I noticed that these people, you could see right there, it says Parsons Diamond Products, Inc. That's why I want to make sure that I shred anything that shouldn't be like necessarily seen by everyone, even if it's old. But yeah, they dealt in diamonds and semi-precious stones. And look at those cool stamps there. So these are Hong Kong. This one, where were they? From the British Columbia, which is part of Canada. But I love these envelopes. This is kind of thin, so I would have to shore this up to make it nice and strong and sturdy. This is some sort of railroad company bond thing. I doubt if it's still good, so we won't worry about that. And then, oh, let me show you this one. And then this one was from Spain, or, Trinidad, West Indies. This is from the West Indies. There is one from Spain. That's why this is Port of Spain, but we do have one that was literally from Spain. And so it has all of these gorgeous stickers on it. This envelope is a bit sturdier. And then this was in a book. I guess they were using it as a bookmark. I have no idea, but I love all the stamps on it. Here it says, for sale by Hart Swalstead. And it says jeweler, which I thought was really weird because this is like from sheet music. So I was like, a jeweler sold sheet music? And then I don't know what this says, but that's like a purplish stamp that is on there. And I don't know if it was like one color and it turned purple over the time. And then it has this stamp here, some Carl person. I don't know who that is, but I do love just the look of this. So that was in a book being used as a bookmark or something. I don't know what they were using it for, I assume. And then the other thing I found, there were a bunch of like 45 records in horrific condition. And what I did is I went through, because like I said, it was get whatever you want for free. And I just took some, and I think I maybe took like 20 of these from different record labels, stuff that was from the 70s back to probably like the 50s. Are these record sleeves for 45 records. I've used record sleeves previously. I think they were plain when I used them before. I think I've had some that had print on it as well. As far as making pockets, dude, peek-a-boo. Picture frame. Like, such a cool thing. This is Atlantic Records. This one is Hit Records. And I don't know what that means. I think that was like a company who would take like some of the old standards and they would be redone. And then they would sell them, look, 39 cents. So you could probably kind of date this one just based upon the fact that the cost was 39 cents. But I just chose these because why not? I just pulled two. And you don't want to see all of them, I'm pretty sure. So what else can I show you? Ooh, okay, hello. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So I'm over it, but it used to be when I would see photographs like this, I would be like, I would have a particular feeling about it, and I honestly don't know what that feeling was. Because I would be like, there was no one in the family that wanted these photos. No one? Like, no one. I just always find that so hard to believe, but it's a thing. And this is my bunny rabbit lamp, you guys, just in case you're wondering, like, I see little feet. But yeah, it happens. And if I did not recover these, what the guy does after the sale is over is everything just gets thrown into boxes and thrown into the garbage and put directly into a dumpster. So I recovered these photos. First, this is more of a piece of artwork than it is a photo. I don't know if I'll be able to get a great picture of it because of all the reflection, but let's see what we can do. Come on, cooperate. Just trying to reposition this lamp to see if that helps any. Let's see, let me try to do this with two hands. I think that's better. It's super bright, but yeah, it's like really bright. But as you can see, it's signed, and I guess one of these, I don't know what this says. It says in something days. I can't read it. It says in whatever this word is, days. And then it's signed by the artist here. I have not removed this from the frame. The frame was like this when I got it. I assume this is some sort of print. Like I said, I have to do a little more investigating and be brave enough to take it out. Honestly, I doubt if I ever will. But such a pretty thing was, you know, destined for a dumpster. And then one of the other things I found was this picture of this guy who appears to, I feel like he was in the Air Force because he has like the hat and the goggles, but he seems to be like a flyer, and he's definitely of the era of the 1940s, so World War II. And I just flipped this around and realized I could take this backing off. Maybe we'll find some information. You guys are seeing this for the first time just like I am, because I didn't even know that happened. Because when I pick this stuff up, you guys, I am just like, put it in the bag, look at it later. It costs you nothing. And if you don't want it, then I immediately will recycle things. So I don't really look at anything in detail until I get it home. So like I said, this is, okay, so there's nothing on the back of this, which is kind of sad as well. That's one of the things you could do if your family has photographs, is always write like the name of the person and the location at least, and the year on the back. So name, location, year, so that, you know, that might be one of the things that happens is folks look at these and they're like, I don't know who that is. And it's Uncle Bob, and he's actually your mother's brother or something. And you're like, oh, I would have kept it if I knew it was Uncle Bob. But so that was pretty cool. We did that on camera together looking at that. So I'm glad I did it, because now I don't have to do that later. But this is something like when we do our Whatnot sale, we have a live sale that we do once every couple of weeks or so. And it's still under the name, the Velvet Lounge Life. And so something like this, we would unfortunately put into that show, because you know, that's something that I wouldn't want to use in a junk journal necessarily, unless I was doing one on something to do with the military. And if I was, it would have to be the branch my husband served in, for example. But yeah, so, and there are people who do collect those items for historical sake, for museums, etc., their own collections, you name it. And they will keep them intact. So I'd rather they do that. And I don't know if this frame, my husband thinks this frame is probably military as well. So I thought that was interesting. And then here is one of the most precious things I think I've ever found, which is this picture of these two beautiful little kids. They are so freaking cute. And they're in U.S. Navy. You could see it on their little hats. U.S. Navy outfits. This little guy right here has a little toy in his hand, and I think I could see wheels on it, but I'm not completely sure about that. And I've never, once again, this is one I did not open up the back, but because, and look, this part is broken. Because I opened up that back, I'm going to open up this one, and I could tell this cardboard isn't the oldest. More paper, more paper. And there is a little bit of writing on here, but this is probably from the person who developed the film, I assume. It has some weird squiggle there. It says, I believe, B-E-R in the center. It looks like B-E-R or B-E-S. And then there's some other weird scribble here, which looks like it says L-P something, or maybe it's L-R. I think that's L-R, written in a fancy script. But other than that, there's nothing. But this is